Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone for this Nectar of Instruction course. The last unit of your Bhakti Shastri. I hope can you hear me well?
Yes, Prabhuji, able to hear you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let us start with our invocation prayers. Nana Shastra Vicharane Kanipuno Saddharma Sanstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravind Bhajana Nande Namattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Do you hear some music on the background from my side?
No, Prabhuji.
Good. There's a rowdy music it's going on the background. I can't turn my video on today. The reason is we have a power cut in a temple and there's no electricity. So as much as I can speak without electricity, I'll try my best to speak. I don't know how much my laptop battery can sustain. I have 58% battery remaining. So let us see how far can we go. So can we have the fortune to see you at least? I'm seeing the black boxes. At least can I have that honor to see you? If possible for you, please turn your video on and good. So can we have a one recap of what we discussed yesterday, and thereafter we'll take it forward to the next verse. Hopefully we'll cover verse second if time permit. I mean, if light comes, so we can cover verse second and third together. Okay, Tulsi Devi Mataji, let us hear from you. Any recap from the day?
Hare Krishna. Yesterday we learned about that for for a devotee, the first thing he has to urge is to speak. Like he has to speak just about the God, like supreme personality of Godhead, and he does not have to speak like further little things. Okay, am I audible? Clear?
Perfectly fine for me.
Okay. And second thing we have learned that we have to we have to be sense gratified, like we have to control our senses, and the senses will be controlled when we apply this that in bhakti. Okay, and the third one we have talked about Mahaprasad, like what times we have to eat Mahaprasad and how to offer Krishna, and sorry, not how to offer, but who will offer, who will cook, and who will serve the prasad. That's it.
Okay, good. But one thing I wanted to hear, Krishna, God, Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. You mentioned God and Supreme Personality of Godhead, but we devotee must utter Krishna as much as we can. Thank you for your contribution, and somebody else would like to contribute. Yes, Pandit Gadatu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please
Is
accept
that
warm
the
obeisances.
ratio? Is that the attendance we have every day for class? Oh,
It
are
will
you?
increase gradually, Prabhuji.
Oh, they come
Yes,
late.
Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji, sort of. So yesterday we talked about the attitude of the devotee and what attitude actually means. So you discussed in detail what attitude actually means, and there are a few of the codes that you said that these are we should learn it. One is the advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. Second is always think good for others, and there's one more.
I gave few mantras, if you remember, in the class. Few mantras. Mantra first was. I'll interrupt you for just for the time being. So those who are coming now, just to mention you that I have a power cut in my room, in my temple actually. So I'll be speaking without the video on. So what was the mantra one first? First mantra. Oh,
Krishna Prabhuji,
yes,
can I?
yes. Please speak up.
We discussed three, four mantras, which were like Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not a goal; it's a day-to-day practice. The advancement in Krishna consciousness means how much you can please Krishna.
I'm just
And
asking the first mantra. First mantra.
first mantra was focus on discipline and motivation will.
Oh, no. Intention to please Krishna. The first
Yes.
attitude is intention to please Krishna.
I
Second
told
one is
the advancement in Krishna consciousness means how much you can please Krishna.
okay, good. The second mantra, somebody else, Devika Mataji, could you contribute?
Krishna Prabhuji, second mantra was wish everyone well.
Wish
Best
everyone
way.
well. Yeah. Wish everyone well. And this is the best training for the mind to do welfare
Yes.
for all, to do welfare for all. And that is the attitude of a devotee. He wants to deliver everyone from the clutches of Maya. And what is the next mantra?
Attaining Krishna is my personal ambition.
Ambition. Attaining Krishna is my personal ambition. This
Yes.
should be the mantra for everyone. And one should have his own program to attain Krishna. By what means you can attain Krishna? Somebody can attain Krishna by kirtan, by reading, by hearing, by doing service, practical service, by going out in Harinam Sankirtan. Somebody is preaching, somebody is doing management. Any way you see Krishna in any service, you can attain Krishna by the means of service. So devotion service is a means to attain Krishna. It's a goal and it's a means both. And correctly said by Baby Madhuri, Krishna consciousness is not just the goal, it is a day-to-day practice. And what else? I think I mentioned one more, I guess.
Yes, any services guided by Krishna after doing it, like after 16 rounds.
Yeah, that should be the mantra followed by all devotees. Should be followed by all devotees. One should start service after completing his or her 16 rounds of japa mala on the beats. And then your consciousness will be guided by Krishna. Be it a service in temple, be it a service in your home. Try your best, or you can see the difference. Even when I was doing this course, Bhakti Bhayat Bhagavad Maharaj, he mentioned, even for a pujari who's waking up the deities in temple 3:45 a.m. in the morning, he must get up early, must get up by 1 o'clock and complete your round and then go for waking up the deities in the temple. He was like so insistent on completing your round and then do service to initiate your service to Krishna, start your service to Krishna. And your service will be guided by Krishna. Krishna will guide. And this is how Krishna appears in the mind. Krishna descends. This is what Prabhupada says. How does Krishna appears in the mind? So when we have prasadam, the attitude of a devotee is Krishna appears in the mind of a person, of a devotee. Krishna descends into the consciousness. So when the consciousness is guided by Krishna, Krishna appears in that consciousness. And Krishna will guide you how? When you complete your 16 rounds. So Maharaj was very insistent on completing your 16 rounds, then you start your service for the day. Okay, any revision for the my video is off because there's a power cut. There's no electricity in my temple. Again, devotees are asking me personally. And wonderfully, I'll mention to you, all of you here. You can see a beautiful picture here. Where I think it's a Hare Krishna written. It's a picture of Srila Rupa Goswami in the Manjari form. It's not Radharani, it's a Rupa Goswami. So we can take all the blessings. It's good that your video is off, so we can at least see Rupa Goswami here. And this is an attempt to establish our relationship with Rupa Goswami. And the first thing that we discussed in the discussion yesterday was that he's watching us all. He's keeping an eye on everyone. So when you're aware, that's a first step to initiate how to build a relationship with Rupa Swami, on building your relationship with Rupa Swami. So any recap for the day?
And
So
Prabhuji, we
apart from the
talked about
mantras.
prasadam as well. That the prasadam should be cooked by devotee, offered by devotee, and served by devotee. And we should have prasadam at a scheduled time. We should eat when we are hungry, and we should stop eating when we are full. We should not take water after prasadam, and we should chew it well so that and relish Krishna prasad.
Prabhupada would relish every morsel of prasadam, every morsel. And Prabhupada, you can read about his schedule from Harishori Prabhu's diary. His time was fixed. 1 o'clock means bell will ring and a devotee has to be there. Even a devotee, if it is late by say few seconds, Prabhupada would chastise heavily. He was very stubborn and very insistent on having a prasadam very on a strict time. And he would take 45 minutes for each meal. And he won't speak at all. Even your grandfather, your father, if they are there, so you could ask them. Previously, people won't speak at all while taking prasadam. I think that is there now. And that is a correct way of honoring prasadam. Just a minute. Now I can turn my video on. And I was just yeah, Prabhupada won't speak at all during his prasadam. He would completely meditate on each morsel. He would relish. Though devotees have habit of discussing so many spiritual things while honoring prasadam, but it's advisable, it is desirable that we relish prasadam completely in association with Krishna. Prasadam is no different from Krishna. Okay, any other thoughts or discussion points here? Any other points?
Krishna Prabhuji, there were 3 points which I remember. That a sinful activity cannot be counteracted by pious activities. One should not think that I'll do something wrong and then can do something good, and both they both can be counteracted. And the other was that a devotee must avoid palatable dishes. They should only eat prasadam. And the last which I remember was that before committing any thinking of even committing any sinful activity, one should immediately think about the pastime of Chota Haridas and take the lesson from that.
That was the instruction for the renounced orders of
Renounced order. Yes.
Yeah. If you wish to associate with Lord Chaitanya, then one must always remember the incident of Chota Haridas Thakur, how he was rejected by the Lord. I have to turn the video off for a while. I've not applied to like. Okay, welcome all of you. So now, so Pandit Gadadapur, you have something to say?
Yes, Prabhuji, we also discussed about the 3 levels of devotees. The level 1 was those who blame others for one situation. And the level 2 was those who blame, anything happens in their life, they take it as their karma and they'll ready to suffer for that. And the last one was anything that is happening in one's life, it being sent by Krishna. So they're not blaming Krishna, but they'll take it as the teachings that the Krishna wanted them to learn in that situation.
Okay. So these are three kinds of mentalities found. Not there are three kinds of devotees. We'll discuss in details three kinds of devotees: neophyte, madhyam, and uttamadhikari in details in the few words ahead. So there are three kinds of mentality. One is blaming others, and one is making himself responsible. The third one is who's always aware every situation is a blessing of Krishna in my life. Every situation, everything, whatever is happening in my life is a blessing of Krishna. He takes it in that way. Okay, let us move forward and let me share my screen for a second. Let us recite the verse first. अत्याहार प्रयासश्च प्रजल्पो नियमाग्रह जनसंघर्षलोन्यं च श्रद्धिर्भक्तिर्विनश्यति. Could somebody read the translation? Any volunteer? I can see the hands now. Anybody who can volunteer? Shubham Prabhu, now I can see him.
Translation. Once devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following six activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, practicing the spiritual rules and regulations only for the sake of following them, not for sake of spiritual advancement. Can you scroll down a bit?
Okay. Sorry.
Or rejecting them, or rejecting the rules and regulations for the scriptures and working independently or whimsically, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, and being greedy for mundane achievements.
So 6 things are mentioned here, which are not favorable for devotional service, and one should avoid them at all cost. So Prabhupada opens up the discussion here, the purpose. First, he defines the goal. The human life is meant for plain living and high thinking. Since all conditioned living beings are under the control of the Lord's third energy. And Prabhupada goes on explaining the three kinds of energy. First is internal energy, second is marginal energy, which are the jivas, and third is Vairanga Shakti, the external potency of the Lord. And the jivas, the conditioned living being, they're prone to be influenced by the Vairanga Shakti. It can be under both the Shaktis, both the energies, internal or external, but in material world, prominently the jivas are highly prone to be influenced by the external energy. If you just read carefully from the past discussion, Prabhupada is hammering on this point again and again. The Maya Shakti, one who preaches about Krishna, he can overcome the victimization of Maya. And here again, Prabhupada will hammer on the same point, because that is the desire of compassion of a pure devotee. He wants to deliver the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. That is the desire of a devotee. And proper, because we are under the control of the Lord's third energy. And Prabhupada will hammer it again and again. And what are the effects shown in this verse? In the discussion, Prabhupada is discussing about there are two kinds of persons, Mahatma and Duratma, triple-minded. Crippled-minded is a person who's just thinking how to enjoy in the world. He is attempting hard to enjoy the world to the fullest extent. See, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, there's a common theme everywhere. The problem in the conditioned soul is that he wants to enjoy. But this constitutional position is the jiva cannot enjoy without giving enjoyment to Krishna. So broad-minded person, he knows he can enjoy by satisfying the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada is explaining the same thing again here. Srimad Radharani is the internal potency, and Duratma is under the control of Lord's external potency. Now let us take the first item here, Atyahar. Prabhupada gives two meanings here. One is collecting more than necessary and eating more than necessary. Overeating and collecting more than necessary. Both are prohibited. And Prabhupada says the entire world is suffering because of it. The entire world is suffering because people lack spiritual strength. When they lack spiritual strength, all sort of problems in the world they face. And Prabhupada explains here, a man has been given higher intelligence for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So there are three things here. An intelligent person has to define his goal, has to chalk out the favorable activities, and to look for a conducive environment. Even if you find in material world, for anything, a person is studying maybe for IIT JEE exam, or for any preparations for CA or whatever, engineering. So he has to define a goal, find a conducive practices, an environment, and they will achieve a goal. So you have a goal, you have conducive practices, you have conducive environment. So Prabhupada will talk about these three things. The goal is attaining love of Krishna. So that is why he's explaining the human life is meant for higher thinking, how you can attain Krishna. And Prabhupada here precisely says, this is the goal. Understanding of God and one's relationship with Him. Precisely this is called Sarupa Siddhi, realizing one's relationship with Krishna. And the ultimate goal of life, love of God. So human life is meant for plain thinking, higher thinking. Higher thinking is attaining the love of Krishna, which means bhakti means precisely means relationship with Krishna. Sometimes, I'm doing bhakti. Bhakti means what? You're trying your best. See, I'm doing sadhana. Sadhana doesn't mean anything if it doesn't have a sadhya. Sadhana means always aiming for the sadhya. That is precisely what we call the sadhana is. Sadhana without an aim has no meaning. So the first goal is attaining the love of God. It has to be established. The goal has to be established. Attaining the love of God, love of Krishna. And their favorable practices and their unfavorable practices. Some do, some don't. What happens when one collects more than necessary? Prabhupada says he has to work very hard. One can live his life with the basic necessity of life. If the goal is love of Krishna, you can run your life, you can live your life with the basic necessities. What do we need? You have a question, Shubham Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we say that the ultimate goal of life is to get love of God.
Yeah.
But if we read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is providing everything to us in form of water and all. Krishna is already loving us. So how do we understand this, to achieve the love of God?
Krishna loves us. We may not like someone in the life in our world surrounding. Suddenly, a jiva, remember this, a jiva doesn't have to do anything to get the love of Krishna. It is automatically there. From Krishna's side, love is there. But the problem is that the jiva has forgotten that love. The whole point of devotional service, discussion, and doing devotional service is to revive your dormant love of Krishna. It is already there in your heart. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, Sadhya Kabunahai, Shavanadi Shuddha Chitte, Kara Kodai. So Prabhupada explains the purport of this verse in the purport, that it is not that from the extraneous effort you have to attain the love of Godhead. It is from outside and it will come inside. It is already there in your heart. Simply the jiva has forgotten. So the whole process of devotional service to revive that love. So one Prabhupada says in Krishna book, just let me recall a very important thing. A person who has full knowledge, he will be fully Krishna conscious. And a person who is fully Krishna conscious, he will never try to enjoy in the material world. He mentions the Krishna book introduction. A person who has a complete knowledge, perfect knowledge, he will be Krishna consciousness. He'll be complete Krishna conscious. And one who is completely Krishna conscious will never try to enjoy in the world. So if there's enjoying propensity other than Krishna, not with Krishna, then a person is lagging behind in attaining that love of Krishna. Okay. Let us focus on Prabhupada's words here. One should utilize one's intelligence for not getting more than necessary, and not simply to satisfy the tongue. So those who believe the higher intelligence is meant to attain higher state should follow the instruction of Vedic literature. By taking such instruction from higher authorities, one can actually become situated in perfect knowledge, the same thing, and give real meaning to life. See, one of the business of the Brahmana is to give real meaning to life, to explain what is the real meaning in the life. That is the business of a Brahmana. He explains what is the real meaning in life. He gives meaning of life to others. That is the real business of a Brahmana. So the real meaning of the life is to attain the love of God. Whatever it takes, one has to do it. One must do it. What are the implications when one collects more than necessary? There's more energy required to retain it, to sustain, to grow it. People have a lot of money. There's a lot of anxiety. What else is there? Could you say anything? If one has a more than necessary resources, how it's a hindrance to attaining love of God. I can't see anybody. Yes, Jyoti Madhuri.
Hare Krishna,
How
Prabhuji.
is it deterrent to attaining your love of God when one collects more than necessary?
Because our energy will go in handling those things rather than doing our sadhana. And those things we will be using, it will not be used for the purpose of Krishna consciousness.
Okay. The biggest loss in one's life is when one spends for a devotee. When a devotee spends a moment without Krishna, being Krishna conscious, that is the biggest loss of the creation. Necessity is required. Basic needs are required. Certain sense gratification is required, because we have a body. One has to work, Prabhupada will explain, to maintain the body and soul together. One has to work in the world. It is required. But it is not required to the extent one loses his own time in just collecting and preserving his resources. What will happen is, Prabhupada often would quote Chanakya Pandit, Ayushya ka shanahi api na labhyate swarna koti bhi. A moment of time lost cannot be gained by swarna koti bhi, by spending millions of rupees. Our very dear devotee, Prabhupada disciple, Amrish Prabhu, he's a big shot business tycoon. When I was preparing for my MBA preparation, so I read in 1985, he had a loss of $15,000, $million somewhere. $15 or $15 million somewhere. So it calculated somewhere around 15,000 rupees. At that time I calculated. And he says, people want to cross certain road in the figurative sense, people want to earn a lot of money. And I've earned a lot of money. But I tell you my conclusion. The money can never buy you happiness. The resources can never buy you happiness. the road which people are trying to walk on, I've crossed the road. I have enough money, and he's a great grandson of Henry Ford. The money can never buy you happiness. He has a famous lecture on the same. The money can never buy you happiness. And if you happen to read some realization of really wise, wealthy people, they will say the bank account is just increasing. Amount is increasing. Even they cannot enjoy the amount of money they have. And moreover, it takes a lot of energy. When the resources are growing, it takes more of your time and energy, your conscious endeavor to retain and preserve and to grow it. And of all the contaminating thing, the desire to have more resources, which is easily acquired with money, is most contaminating. Krishna says in third canto, because money brings particularly the desire of controllership. I can control everything now. I'm the doer. So two things are very detrimental for the progress in devotion service. I have to say honestly, this is women, and for a woman, it's a man, and wealth. If one is attached to them, either of it, both of them, so one's life is destroyed. Spiritual life is destroyed, particularly. And without the special mercy of Krishna, no one can conquer it. Without being complete sincere to Krishna consciousness, to Krishna, one cannot conquer it. And thus a person cannot understand the real meaning of life. In fourth chapter, 34th verse of Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidi Pranipatena Pari Prashnena Sevya, Prabhupada explains spiritual life is undoubtedly difficult. Spiritual life is difficult because you are trying to know something of higher dimension of someone you have not seen. You want to experience someone you have not seen. You have to build your faith gradually. You have to come to this point of reciprocating with Krishna. It takes a lot of conscious efforts on the part of devotee to progress in spiritual life. Spiritual life is difficult, no doubt, Prabhupada says, but material life is impossible. One devotee told Prabhupada, the spiritual life is so difficult. I can follow all the rules. Prabhupada told him, spiritual life is difficult, but material life is impossible to live. There are difficulties to follow rules and regulation. So first is defining goal, which scripture says again and again, and Prabhupada hammers the love of God. It's the ultimate goal of life, and it requires simple living. Oh, I'm following a new fashion, a new fad. Always looking for new things, so I can impress others. Collecting. People have hundred of shoes in their house, in their wardrobe, 100 of t-shirts, so many clothing, collecting more than required. What happens? What happens when you have a lot of gadgets, a lot of resources? Anything? Okay, yeah. Vaibhi Madhuri.
Prabhuji, I'll share my experience because I used to have lots of footwears. And one thing which I encountered was that which one to wear to impress, which will make me look more pretty, which will oh no, this I wore yesterday, I will not wear it. This I wore last week, I'll not wear it. So always chaotic mind. You'll always be in that.
Day wise. Monday is a day for the blue ones.
So it always creates a chaos.
And the 10 blue dresses. Every Monday is a different dress. And people are attached to deodorants, different flavor, different fragrance. So there are so many subtle attachment resources. So one should have resources, no doubt. First dress, then address. Prabhupada says one has to be gentleman. But how much of a dress? Okay. So then, not that your address becomes an impression. Prabhupada one time he remarked, one eats, the kind of food that you eat is to satisfy, is to please your mind. And what one dresses is to please the other. What one wears is to please the others, and what one eats is to please his own mind. So basically, when one is eating, one is not eating for the body. One is eating for the mind. When maja aa gaya, man khush ho gaya. Now one is basically eating for the mind. So this is an important instruction here. One should not be lost in collecting resources and just to impress other. You may not be impressing other with your resources. You may be taking your own delight in that, or but it sucks your vital energy. It sucks your time. So that's a first instruction. We have to understand the real meaning of life. We have to understand Krishna. Understanding Krishna takes efforts, conscious efforts. Bhakti is never automatic. Nothing happens in bhakti automatically. Bhakti is a kind of cultivation. Prabhupada never says bhakti is automatic. Never find you one. In bhakti, everything will happen automatically. Everything is a conscious cultivation of Krishna. Huh? What is the verse? Prabhupada will quote this verse here. Krishna Anushilan, what? How the verse start? Krishna Anushilan? Krishna Anushilanam. The bhakti is cultivation of what? Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. The favorable cultivation of Krishna. How can I have more Krishna in my life? Krishna is coming in a bit. How can I have more Krishna in my life? How can I increase my hearing and chanting about Krishna? That should be a question of a devotee, inquiry of a devotee. Jivasya tattva jigyasa. Life's all endeavor should only be to understand Krishna, to know Krishna, be absorbed in Krishna. This is the life of a devotee. And this can only happen. The words are very simple. Human life is a life of plain living and high thinking. Okay, you might have a standard where you have to have a certain standard. You live in certain standard, certain class. But we don't become so much absorbed in that we lose the purpose. The ultimate goal of life is Krishna. Okay. Now let us move forward. So overeating is controlled. We discussed yesterday just by the habit of always honoring Krishna Prasadam and preferably prepared by devotee, offered by devotee, and served by devotee. Even if we have, we may not be on the idealistic level, but we'll come to this level of just eating Krishna Prasadam by following these three things. Okay, next thing. If our endeavor is not to inquire about the absolute truth about Krishna, we will simply increase our endeavor to satisfy our artificial needs. There's a need for the body and there's a need for the soul. Soul will always remain hungry. If one tries to satisfy his own or her own artificial needs, which are needs for the body, and this has no limit. No matter what you try to satisfy your body, it will never be satisfied. Now I'll give you another mantra. Please write it down. Senses can never be satisfied. Material senses can never be satisfied. Actually, Krishna is not served by material senses. Krishna is served by purified senses. When they're purified in service of Krishna, senses can never be satisfied with any amount of sense gratification. So spiritual aspirant, a devotee basically, should avoid mundane endeavor. Devotee should look into his life. How can I make my life more simple? What is it that it is taking more of my time? What is that I can still save some of my time in some of my maintaining my resources, my lifestyle? my surroundings. Because as we are progressing in our age, we are aging, remembrance of Krishna must increase. And this is a place ultimately we all have to wind up. As we're progressing in age, we must think about winding up. What more I can wind up? What more things I can settle? So the life's goal, only focus on Krishna, may not be lost. So here we have one question, Jyoti Mati. Could you please, you can interrupt at any point of time.
Yes, Prabhuji, I want, like, I'm not able to conceive this point that when we say no, that we when we like we try to enjoy not in the material world, in the spiritual world. Like when we were there in the, if we were there in the spiritual world, we had tried to, in the past we had tried to enjoy separate from Krishna. We wanted to enjoy this. I'm not able to conceive this point because the spiritual world enjoyment is far beyond than material world enjoyment. It's unconceivable. So why would anyone want to enjoy in the spiritual world separate from Krishna?
Could you say your question in just one line? Basically, your point is, if I, as far as I can understand your question, why one would like to enjoy separate from Krishna if we have come from the spiritual world? Is that your question?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Perhaps if you're in your reading of Bhagavad Gita, I'll send you the purport where Prabhupada says, it doesn't matter how we have come here. It doesn't matter. Prabhupada writes in the purport. It doesn't matter how we have come here. The jiva has fallen from the spiritual world. It doesn't matter. And there's one, I won't say controversy, but it's a matter of discussion. Whether jiva has fallen from the spiritual world or not. It's a discussion altogether. Whether we have come from the spiritual world or not. Not a leaf fall from the sky or from the spiritual world. There's a one title, one essay on that also, book on that also. And GPC has also released this paper. But Prabhupada writes, it doesn't matter how you have fallen into the world, in the material world. It doesn't matter. If there's a fire in the house, the more important is to come out of the house. Not to check really which socket has got what called leakage or whatever. So more important is how you have more important how you have to come out of the material world. And Prabhupada says, then you will get to know. Once you come out of the material world, you become liberated. There can be endless discussion on that. Okay, there was no envy in the spiritual world, so how we became envious of Krishna? Or so there was no material enjoyment, so how we had this desire of enjoying separate from Krishna? So how we have fallen into material world? There can be endless discussion. But somehow or other you have fallen into the material world and we are suffering. Isn't it? And we're suffering. So more important thing is, it doesn't matter how we have fallen into material world. The important thing is how we have to go back to the spiritual world. And that is the aspiration of devotee, how he can attain the Krishna Loka again. Okay. Even while in material world, a devotee doesn't suffer. He enjoys the material world without being suffering. Prabhupada says, Vishnu Sukhaite, but provided you're doing the right thing. If one is absorbed in Krishna, the lower modes of material nature, the Maya or external energy of Vairanga Shakti will not touch you. That's what Prabhupada, Maya cannot touch me. He's writing a letter to Krishna Pandit, who was a Pandit in Chippiwada temple. He says, he's writing a letter from US, Maya cannot touch me. Because one who has taken complete shelter of Krishna, Maya cannot touch him. He's not affected, influenced by the energies, by vibrations in the material world. He's happy with Krishna. He's enjoying with Krishna. So that is the aspiration of devotee. Though still, I'll suggest you to read the papers of Jiva's Fall. From the GBC has released its own paper on Jiva's Fall. So you'll get to clear understanding on this, how Jiva has fallen into material world. Okay. So we don't have to increase our artificial needs. Artificial need means need for the body and for mind, just to please your mind and mind of others. Other will be impressed with my shoes, with my dresses. The endeavor should be to attain Krishna. Increase your inquiry about Krishna. One must inquire about Krishna. And next impediment is prajalpa, which means unnecessary talking. And yesterday also we discussed about prajalpa. Unnecessary talking means what? Chatterbox. It shows one's mind is very, very, very restless. Prabhupada was given one telephone. Just it was a new thing in US, and it was kept in Prabhupada's room. And suddenly a phone came, and Prabhupada said hello, and it was a wrong number, basically wrong dial, wrong number. And Prabhupada said, "I don't need this telephone. It's such a waste of time." And somebody suggested Prabhupada thereafter fax machine had come. And Prabhupada gave his own comment. Okay, it can be used in service of Krishna, but if you cannot use it, it will simply increase the prajalpa. Nowadays, a lot of gossiping, prajalpa is increasing in our society, Krishna conscious, like ISKCON we're talking about. Why? Because people have a tendency to talk. It is a good thing. But because they are not filling with Krishna, what is coming out is what they're taking in. They're hearing what news is, what's happening in the material world, who's famous celebrities doing what, they're hearing songs, they're watching movies, and they're talking about this. Or otherwise, they're talking about this devotee is doing this, and so many things, which are not related to Krishna. Unnecessary talking. A man of intelligence never talks too much. Because, see, now this, you write this mantra again. Talking drains one's energy. It drains your energy. When you talk too much, you get tired. And mind becomes very fickle, restless. Too much talking drains energy. And should I mention or not? If you can utilize it, okay. Your phone, using phone too much. If you can use it in service of Krishna, is okay. It's absolutely okay. If you're so competent, you are so eligible, like you are so spiritual strength. If you can use your phone entire day and use in service of Krishna, it's okay. But generally, it can turn into a killer of love of God. Using gadgets too much social media active. If you are discussing about Krishna, you are sharing Krishna conscious information, is okay. You'll progress in devotional service. But if it is unnecessarily done, it will kill the spirit of love of God. It will kill the spirit of attaining Krishna in this lifetime. So whenever we mix with few friends, Prabhupada says, immediately there's unnecessary talking and sounding like croaking of a frog. And he's inviting the death, basically, a snake like death. So if we must talk about Krishna consciousness. And you can only talk about Krishna consciousness if you have read about it, you have heard about it. You are absorbed in Krishna. And then talking about Krishna is naturally coming out of you. So people are interested in reading newspapers, magazines, novels, solving crossword puzzles, doing so many nonsensical things. In the name of fashion, in this fashion, sorry, people waste their valuable time and energy. Talking takes your time and your vital energy. It drains your energy. Remember, time is Krishna. Krishna in the form of time gives you an opportunity to remember him. Kalo Asmi. So Krishna is time. We should not waste. If you're wasting time, we're wasting Krishna actually. So Krishna, the form of time, has given us this chance to remember Krishna. So we should not waste time. People in Western country, they retire from active life, play cards, fish, watch televisions, debate about useless things, social political schemes. So many frivolous things happen in the name of Prajalpa. So gossiping is increasing. If you don't have anything to say, be quiet. At least chant your rounds. Read something. Do your chanting. If you're not so knowledgeable, okay, just chant. Do some service. Do not waste your time just talking to other people. Now, this is the final punch of Prabhupada. The intelligent person interested in Krishna consciousness should never take part in such activities. Never. Should never. Every word is loaded with so much meaning. Should never. Because it will destroy one's devotion service. Bhakti, it's a killer of spirit of devotion service. It's a killer of spirit of love of God. Ajalpa, no way. Oh, what I ate today, what I'm wearing today. Oh, he's liking me. So many people are observing me. No need to talk. Just focus on Krishna. Where is Krishna in your thoughts? Where does Krishna lie in your thoughts? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So there are do's and don'ts. Talk about Krishna. And you can only talk about Krishna when you're hearing about Krishna. Read a lot about Krishna. A lot. Be an avid reader of spiritual books. Prabhupada. Be an avid reader. Voracious reader. Read a lot. As much as you can read. Hear a lot. As much as you can hear about Krishna. Fill yourself. Absorb yourself. Going, if you don't have anything, hear the Kirtan of different Mahabhagavad, like devotees. Exalted devotees. Hear Kirtan. Take part in Kirtan. Do some service. No Prajalpa. Prajalpa also includes criticizing devotees, gossiping about devotees, and unnecessarily we commit offenses. Ninda Adishunne Hridaya Prasita Sangalapya. Associate with a person who doesn't speak a single word except from Krishna consciousness, from Krishna. Associate. Look for association, for such association who doesn't speak at all except Krishna. Take a vow in your life. I must only speak one. Take a Kartik vow in your life. Kartik is heaven. I must always speak about Krishna. Unnecessarily. No unnecessary knocking. Only Krishna. That is how the want of Krishna is only wanted. Everyone is wanting so many frivolous things. The want of Krishna is only wanted in the world. Otherwise, devotee is not disturbed in while being in material world. He's enjoying. He's relishing Krishna Katha. He's hearing about Krishna. He's glorifying Krishna's name. He's hearing Krishna's qualities. So much to hear about Krishna. Spiritual world is far bigger than the material world. There's no comparison. So much to know about Krishna. Jana Sangha. A person is generally an average of 4 or 5 people, a person or devotees around. Even in devotees, obviously, we must have spiritual exchange. We need devotees in our life. But when you meet or when you come to the circle where devotees are there, community of devotee, first thing you must ask, or you should be looking for, something about Krishna. Something about Krishna. You'll be looking forward to know something about Krishna, higher realization, spiritual life. How Krishna is reciprocating with other devotees. Let me hear. And many devotees, they have this practice. And they are the usually one who have only 1 or 2 friends. The first question, and this is what I heard from my spiritual master. The first thing that you ask the other devotees, what are you reading today? Give me your thoughts. When you meet with other devotees, first question you should ask is, what are you reading nowadays? What are you hearing nowadays? In the assembly of Janak Maharaj, Vasishtha Muni, he came and he asked a question to Janak Maharaj, Vasishtha Muni. How is your, sorry, let me just think of the question. How is your endeavor for conquering this birth and death is going on? Basically, a devotee, when one devotee meets with other devotee, he should always ask for spiritual queries, spiritual discussions. Jana Sangha, and one should Jana Sangha refers to associating with person not interested in Krishna consciousness. Not you are taking pleasure with your friends and discussing material things. One should strictly avoid such association. You may have to live in such association even within your family, within your surrounding, your office, but associate as much as it is required as a matter of duty. Heart should not be involved. It is done as a matter of duty. We are practical. We have to live in the world. We have to work. But as much as, so we have to associate with the world as much as required. Bhakta Sanevas, one should always engage in the service of Lord in the association of Lord's devotees. Association with those engaged in similar line of business is conducive to the advancement in that business. So first we have to define, establish our goal, conducive practice, chanting of 16 rounds, following four regular principles, hearing and chanting with Lord, and then look for conducive atmosphere who are in similar line of business, Prabhupada says, who are associate with people who are really eager to advance in spiritual life. And those who are living at home, they should come to temple to chant with the devotees. Temple is a place, Prabhupada will say. We have opened this Krishna conscious society so that people can come to associate with those who have not forgotten Krishna. It's a spiritual association. Attend Mangalarti, take part in Kirtan in the temple, hear Katha, and chant with the devotees. And this is just to awaken the dormant Krishna consciousness. So those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness, who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things in the shape of material gain, monetary gain, or scientific knowledge, are included under the control of Atyahar. You have to acquire more and more knowledge. Reading a lot of books also is Atyahar. A lot of books. Obviously, we recommend reading Prabhupada books, Acharya's books. You can read a lot of books from outside. Yes, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I have a question. So reading too many books brings knowledge. So isn't that sometimes it will bring pride as well, that I know everything. So how to deal with it?
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. Brahmane Kavi Hastani. The first quality of gaining knowledge is one must be humble. One who has full knowledge of Krishna, he will realize he is the biggest fool. That he has not served Krishna in previous lifetimes. One who's actually knowledge will realize he's the biggest fool. He's really fallen. So actual gaining knowledge makes one humble. So that's part of an introspection. One has to be trained. One has to have someone whom he can share, who can catch your things, who can tell you. On its own, spiritual life becomes very difficult. You have to have some good friends who can see you. You have to have some peers who can tell you about. We need someone who can tell. On its own, spiritual life becomes very difficult journey. We'll come across, not about just pride. Pride is one thing. So many things will come across. When anartha hits, it's so difficult to get up. Sometimes pride will hit, sometimes envy will hit, sometimes greed will hit, sometimes lust will hit. Gradually, on its own time, everything will hit. Isn't it? That's how we tested by Krishna. But Krishna has given the weapons. Keep association. Have meaningful association in your life. Be it there are 2-3 friends in your life, maybe 2-3 senior friends, whatever you say about. But they are there in your spiritual journey. Okay? So Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. So actual, that's how even we find in the spiritual circle of in spiritual educations, when we impart spiritual education, the first thing is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. I did my Bhakti Vedanta, so I went to Anutama Prabhu. He said the first thing you remember is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, the knowledge to make you humble. Not I'm a Bhakti Vedanta. Okay, karmis labor to accumulate more and more money for future generation only because they do not know their future position. So karmis, basically those who want to enjoy their money, materialistic people. So devotees, they don't have to become materialistic people, like materialistic people. That they're just simply living just to earn money. so that I can sustain well, my son can sustain, my generation can sustain well. And there's no future. I don't know about the future. What will happen? It's atyahar. This money thing is very contaminating. A lot of anartha comes because of money. Greed comes, envy comes. He has more money than me. I can be more wealthy than him. Greed comes. Hmm? Anger, when you lose your money, anger comes. Money brings a lot of anartha. So it makes lives once very inauspicious. Accepting some of the scriptural rules, regulation for immediate benefit is called niyam. So there are two things: niyam agra or niyam agra. Niyam agra means one is eager to accept rules just for the sake of following it. Agra means one doesn't follow the rules, one doesn't chant, one doesn't follow four regular principles. So both are unfavorable. I think I'll show you one after completing this one. I'll show you something from the slide. When one takes more than his maintenance requires, he's a thief. Such a person is liable to be punished. See, when you have more than required, one is liable to be punished by the laws of nature. Also, devotee should have, especially the Grasa, should have a habit of donating in the temple, so that they get this feeling that we are earning for Krishna. And Prabhupada mentions 50%, if someone can do it, for one's life, earning should be donated for the service of Krishna. Maybe you utilize the service of Krishna. Yes, Pandit Gadapur.
So, Prabhuji, how can we define what is required for my maintenance or sustenance? It may vary from people to people,
You
or
know,
probably the upbringing.
at least you know for yourself how much you need to maintain yourself. Actually, sometime, as for the Grasta, to be very honest, just like they are full-time brahmacharis in temple, they're full-time. They've given up their own like relationships. For Grasta also, they should have a financial judiciously. They should plan their financial things so that at certain point of time they can retire in their life. Money, the biggest thing the money gives is time. The intrinsic currency of the time of the money is time. Suppose you have a money so you can sustain for 6 months. Enough money to sustain for 6 months. So money gives you time for 6 months. So we suggest sometimes devotee earns, you have to earn, the devotee, they earn certain amount of money in their life, after which they don't have to work. Because they are investment, mutual fund, FDs, everything. So if one can do such a financial planning in his life in regard to money, he knows his maintenance, his expenses, he knows the inflation rate. It has to be done judiciously with some financial experts. There are many experts who can tell you this figure, if you can achieve in your life, you don't have to work thereafter. So we suggest so that thereafter, when you achieve the target of, that lump sum amount, and thereafter you don't have to work. Just serve Krishna in the temple, preach about Krishna, travel for Krishna, whatever. So you know your lifestyle, and you know how much, obviously, the expenses for families. If one can do it, it's the best thing. One shouldn't work for his entire life. One should plan. See, nobody becomes wealthy by earning more. One becomes wealthy by saving more. That is the psychology of money. The first psychology is money gives you time. Second thing is nobody becomes wealthy by earning more, by saving more. Try where you can save. It's easier to say than done. Obviously, we know to do it. But if one can do it with mercy of Krishna, Prabhupada would encourage devotees to retire at certain point of time and fully devote their time in Krishna. No more working. Fully devote your time in Krishna. If you can retire at 40, it's well and good. It can be done. Not that you have to work for your whole life. I've seen devotees, they are retired at 40, 35 also. They work for 10 years, they have earned enough. Now they're just serving Krishna. Isn't it?
So, isn't 35 is too early? 35 and 40.
I know
Just
I know this devotee is working Google. He's earning 1 crore a year. He doesn't have to work for his whole life. And money multiplies with certain investments. Getting a point? Depending on
Yes,
his
Prabhuji.
skills. I've seen devotees. They work in Google and he's donating well also. So 35, 40. So they are devotees who have done it. 40, 45. Not that we have to retire at 50 only. If you can retire early, because we are not sure to live at 100 years in Kali Yuga. So retiring at 40, 45 is a good thing. Okay. Focus on Krishna. So we should have a part of our life where fully absorbed in Krishna. Somehow we have to work in the world. We have families. We have to raise them. They have family necessities. People are dependent on us. But there has to be some time in a life where we are completely absorbed in Krishna. It's only Krishna service, and everything is well maintained, taken care. Obviously, there are devotees who are taking sessions on this, how you can make financial planning. So earning money more now for the sake of, so that you can serve Krishna later, it's not atyahar. Provided you can serve Krishna later. You're not carried away by the atyahar, earning more money. Money is always contained. So always keep accountability for your money. Psychology of money. Always keep accountability to someone who knows, who can do your welfare. So you're not driven away, you're not carried away, swayed away by more possession. So this pure consciousness is awakened by the proper spiritual education and practice. Proper education, you can only do it if there are two things. Proper education. A man stays, we can make a man stay in devotional service by proper education. A man becomes fixed in devotional service because of proper education. That's why there are institutes to give education, proper education and practice. When you're properly educated, there has to be proper practice offered scientifically by Krishna conscious movement. This we have to do it to others also. First we take it and give it to others. Only thing we have to do is take a proper education and practice. So what we're discussing is proper education and do practice. The whole practice is how you can fix your mind in Krishna. I don't have to work whole of my life. There has to be certain time in your life where I'm completely absorbed in Krishna. No money, nothing is there. And Prabhupada is encouraging many devotees to come to Vrindavan, stay in Vrindavan at the time of your retirement and serve Krishna. Take Krishna service. This Krishna conscious movement offers a spiritual community that can bring about a peaceful condition in the world. Every intelligent man should purify his consciousness and rid himself of the above 6 hindrances to devotional service by taking wholehearted shelter of this Krishna conscious movement. Krishna consciousness movement. Let me share. So Atyahar leads to prajalpa, prayasa, more prayasa. It takes more of your time and energy. Talking takes energy, prajalpa. Atyahar, prayasa, prajalpa, niyama agra. So let us discuss something on niyama agra. I think no. Can it go forward? Can you see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Something I didn't discuss so far now. Little bit of introduction. This we have. So first 7 verses like Vedic Bhakti will be discussing, and then 8 to 11 verses is Raguna Bhakti practice. So far we have discussed how to recognize a spiritual master, how to prevent a spiritual fall down, and third discussion will be on how to make spiritual advancement. Progression Bhakti is compared to like for a devotee is compared to like a mango. In initial stage, the mango is bitter. Perhaps you have seen my father has a mango business. Bitter mango, sour mango, sour sweet. As you progress in bhakti, bhakti becomes sweeter and sweeter. So a devotee remains the same devotee but becomes more and more advanced. So bhakti is sadhana bhakti in the initial stages, and with your surrender and practice and proper education, it is bhav bhakti. You advance to bhav bhakti and then become prem bhakti. In regards to controlling senses, Krishna says, Before giving up, I can't see something on the screen because something's written. Because before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses, means urges will continue until you give up the body. How long we have to control the urges? Until you give up the body. As long as the bodies is there, urges will be there. And we discussed about 6 controls, 6 Krishna conscious control. And then now this, I wanted to focus again yesterday because we didn't discuss. When a man eats food offered by a materialistic man, one's mind becomes contaminated. When mind is contaminated, one is unable to think of Krishna properly. So again, this food is saying again. When one eats food offered by a materialistic man, one's mind becomes contaminated. And Prabhupada said, even a serious devotee becomes like a materialistic man. Even a serious devotee who's following all the rules, if he eats from the materialistic man, mind becomes contaminated and unable to think of Krishna. So we have this discussion, Mahatma, Duratma. Mahatma is always thinking to serve Krishna. Duratma is always engaged in sense gratification. So of all the rules, the final instruction is always remember Krishna, never forget him. So that is the purpose, guiding principle in devotee's life. And we discussed about 6 things. Human life is meant for plain living, high thinking. Religion instruct people to be satisfied with bare necessities. We must talk about Krishna. And now let us come to Niyam Agraha and Niyam Agra. So one should faithfully follow all the rules for the advancement in Krishna consciousness. This is Niyam Agra. No, Niyam Agra means you're eager to follow rules for the sake of following them, not knowing their purpose. Okay, Niyam Agra. Agra means eagerness to accept. Agra means failure to accept. So in what condition? There are some exceptions to the rule here. In what condition a devotee can break a lower rule for higher rule? So have you heard this, the case of Gambira, where Mahaprabhu was sleeping on the edge of a door and the Govinda had to step over to give massage to Mahaprabhu. And when it comes to his time of taking lunch, when Mahaprabhu wakes up and Mahaprabhu tells him, you're not taken your lunch, please go and take your lunch. He's saying, because I have to give a massage, so I have to be here. So Mahaprabhu asked, how did you come inside? So because he knew as a Lord. So he said, for the service of Lord, he stepped over Lord himself. For the service of Lord, it is allowed to step over even the Lord. And from the character of Govinda, it is to be learned that we may sometimes commit offenses for the service of the Lord, but not for sense gratification. For his own lunch, he didn't go. He didn't again step over the Lord and went for his lunch. He stayed there. So, sometime we might have to give up a rule, Niyam Agra, for the sake of service of the Lord. Sometimes devotees, they say, we can tell a lie. We can tell a lie. Sometimes is okay, but not in the you don't get in the habit of telling a lie. For every small thing, you tell a lie. It is okay. Sometimes you might have to be in a situation where you have to tell a lie. But it is not so much advisable. A devotee has to be straightforward, honest. So it's like a sharp edge, sharp razor. How much you can tell a lie, where in situation, only you and Krishna knows. So in the name of telling a lie, serving Krishna, we may not end up in implicating ourselves in reactions. So what are the situations where you are allowed to, now question to you is, to break a lower rule for the sake of higher rule? Higher rule is like serving Krishna. Where are you allowed to break a lower rule and serve Krishna? Can you tell me any situations? Or you think what can be situations? For a minute, you can think where you have to break a lower rule for a higher rule and not get implicated. Hmm. Okay, Shubham Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I can remember like what I've seen is okay, sometimes the devotees are like too much busy and in a rush for some other services and they're taking prasadam and they're about to take prasadam. So generally what they do, we chant the whole mantra like Mahaprasade Govinde Maha, this prayer. But they're sometimes too much busy and they have to go for some other service. So they just simply pray to the Lord mentally and just honor the prasad. And they just honor the prasad rather
Okay,
than sing the whole prayer.
okay, okay. Sometimes maybe you're attending Mangal Aarti just for the sake of, and Guru Maharaj also comes. So you have to leave the Aarti to receive a Guru Maharaj. So you have to give up a lower rule for a higher rule. So you have to see which one is a higher. There's one example. Yes, Pandit Dada Prabhu.
So yeah, telling lies in offices or at home for dham visit.
But try, you don't get caught.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
Not. So what else? Vaibhav Mataji.
Prabhuji, I heard about His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj that he wore materialistic pant shirt for the higher purpose, so to preach in the countries where devotional practices are not allowed. So that's
Yeah.
one
He would give up
thing
a
I
sannyas dress so that he can preach, giving up a lower thing
for
for a
the
higher.
higher purpose.
But about truth, one has to be very cautious. To be very telling lies. Mother Earth cannot tolerate a person. Huh? You remember 8th canto? Mother Earth is telling. I think Vamadev is telling. Mother Earth. Whosoever in the 8th canto. I don't remember who spoke the words. She cannot tolerate a person who is a liar. She feels burdened by that person. So if you know precisely it is for the service of Krishna, and that to be under guidance, not because otherwise, for every small things, there's an it comes in a habit. It becomes a habit to tell a lie, and once loses one's integrity, one honesty, one character, and it causes more harm than a service. So especially this a devotee must be truthful. One should take a vow of speaking the truth always. Must be truthful. That should be general standard of a devotee. He should be his dealing, his character should be very clean. One should mold his life in such a way that one doesn't have to speak unnecessary, lies and other things. It makes life very anxious. Okay. Keshavi Jayada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question. I see sometimes in our temple, some senior devotees, they miss their 16 rounds sometimes for in festivals for doing some services. But I think 16 rounds is our most important service. And isn't it a lie to our spiritual master if we are not chanting our 16 rounds after initiation?
One time I'll tell you one incident. A devotee was organizing a Rath Yatra, and it got so late. So Rath Yatra was to happen, I think the next day. So whole day, whole night he was preparing, and at night he came to Prabhupada like 11, 12, midnight. So Prabhupada, I couldn't chant my rounds, so whole day there was a service. So Prabhupada told him, better not eat and sleep, but complete your 16 rounds minimum in all the cases. And there was Prabhupada disciple, Deen Band. Who was a disciple who wrote Bhagavatam after Prabhupada lived? Very famous. I forgot his name. So while giving initiation, he would tell, you can leave your 16 rounds only when you're dying. In only one case, you can leave with 16 rounds if you're dying. On that day, you can leave with 16. No exception to this rule. One must once 16 round every day on the beat, whatever come may. Whatever come may, one must complete. Or if it so happens sometimes, it's a rare thing. You're so sick or something, somehow you can complete your round the next day. Papa said that also. Complete next day. Sometimes we are in a situation where we cannot chant. We cannot chant, obviously. You have an operation and you have something. Jabata Kasmai Maharaj, he was in hospital for so many days. So he had 900 rounds pending. He couldn't chant because there was a operation, ICU, everything. And right after Maharaj came out of the ICU, he was chanting his own round. He completed all pending 900. And he mentioned, I've completed all my 900 pending rounds. So sometimes you may come across, but intention should not be done. You shouldn't take it casually. Before taking initiation, you must know your vow. It has to be done, come what may. Only few rare cases where you have an operation or something you can't chant, you're unconscious, you're so sick, something. But influence of time and some disease. Okay. So there are few cases where you can give up a lower rule for the sake of higher rule. That is okay, but it has to be done very cautiously. Breaking up a rule. And what are the example of Niyam Agra? Sometimes say, see, we are putting up we're not chanting the mantras. You're following an activity, but you are not reminding yourself the meaning of it. The mantras have to be chanted. All Keshvaya Nama, Om Naya Nama. So something in chanting, you're doing chanting, but the heart is not there. You're not chanting carefully. You're watching movies and you're watching your smartphone while doing your chanting. So you're following a rule, not knowing the purpose of the rule. The chanting is done. Chanting is what? Is your association with your beloved Radha and Krishna. Chanting is what? You're associating with Radha and Krishna. It's your association with Radha and Krishna. Okay. So like chanting, honoring prasadam, so many things. So basically, a rule has to be followed, knowing its purpose, knowing well its purpose. What the purpose? This rule is meant for what? Chanting is meant for what? Four regular principle is meant for what? So that we get rid of sinful life. We know the purpose. Okay, let us move forward. Any questions so far? The third verse today. उत्साह निश्चय धैर्य तत्त कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संग त्याग सतो वृत्ते सद्भिर भक्ति प्रसिद्ध्यति. Now, 6 things which are very favorable for devotional service are being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravan Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Lord Krishna, abandoning association of non-devotees, again, abandoning the association of non-devotees, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. The 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation, such a powerful line, or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. Pay attention again. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. What do you understand with this? Imaginative ecstasies. What do you understand with this?
What I understand is we need to do some practical things or practical services in order to feel or in order to relish the devotional life.
One time,
or it is not like Not like there's a song, Vrindavan jaungi sakiri fir laut ke na aungi, something not like that. It's not imaginative, but yes, it is more or less like we need to do some practical services.
One time in London, Prabhupada was standing in the balcony, and the next balcony, Yamuna Mataji was there. And both Prabhupada and Yamuna Mataji, they looked each other, and Yamuna Mataji said to Prabhupada, told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I love you. Prabhupada told, yes, I know. And this news came to one Mataji who was intrigued that she wants to say to Prabhupada, I love you. And one fine day, she found an opportunity to be with Prabhupada alone, and she went up to Prabhupada and told Prabhupada, I love you. And Prabhupada told her, don't be sentimental, do something practical. And she was confused. To one Mataji, Prabhupada is saying, yeah, I know, you love me. To someone else, Prabhupada is saying, do something practical, don't be sentimental. Because in the second later case, Prabhupada knows that this woman is just saying sentimentally. She doesn't have any practical service in temple. She's roaming here and now. And Prabhupada, on the other hand, knows Yamuna Mata is doing so much practical service. When she's saying, I love you, Prabhupada, she means it. Because service is an ultimate expression of your love for spiritual master, for Guru, and for Krishna. You love Krishna, but there's no service to Krishna. What is that love? So service without love, or love without service, has no meaning. Same sadhana. You have no aim, you know sadhya. So sadhana has no meaning. Similarly, love has no meaning if there is no service backed by it. Okay, so devotional service is such a powerful line. It's not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. I'm feeling so much separation of Krishna. It's very rare thing, separation of Krishna. It's the highest thing rather in the spiritual world. Its substance is a practical activity. So can you see the screen now? I hope. So enthusiasm, it's the same thing. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. When we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Whenever we say bhakti, bhakti means cultivation. For what? Cultivation for Krishna, Anushilanam, cultivation for Krishna. How much you can receive Krishna, how much you can have Krishna in your life. This is what bhakti is all about. How much you can revive your relationship with Krishna. This is what bhakti is all about. Okay. Something on enthusiasm. One should accept this opportunity to return back home, back to Godhead, very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. Even in the material world, practically one sees a student, businessman, artist has to be enthusiastic to attain who wants success in their line of business. So answer is one should only act for Krishna, Krishnarthe akhile chetsa. Enthusiasm means action. Action for whom? For Krishna. One time, Prabhupada gave one lecture, and in that lecture, Prabhupada told all the audience that unless you're 100% pure, you cannot go back to Godhead. And Prabhupada saw the faces are going down. I said, okay, unless you're 80% pure, you can't go back to Godhead. And one devotee was still desperate. After the lecture, Prabhupada went to his room. So he followed Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I have one question. I'm not even 80% pure, Prabhupada. So I'll not go back to Godhead, Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was sitting behind the table, and he had a strong fist on the table. And Prabhupada said, once I've told you, just follow 4-legged principle and chant minimum 16 rounds and just be enthusiastic. You will go back to Godhead. Even if there's no enthusiasm, just be enthusiastic. Sometimes we discussed yesterday, sometimes there are horrible incidents in our life, and we lose confidence, patience, enthusiasm. Purpose is wait for some time. Have patience. That Benjamin, this will also pass. What is that phrase? This too
This
shall
shall
pass.
do pass.
This too shall pass. This situation will also
This
pass.
shall do pass.
Every situation, nothing is permanent in the world. It will pass. Just have some patience. Miseries, they're not permanent. Material pleasure, it's not permanent. Everything is temporary in the world. Just have patience. This will pass. So enthusiasm means some action. And Prabhupada says, action for what? For Krishna. Enthusiasm, Prabhupada will next say, endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is utsaha. Know that one has more of passion soon. So performing devotion service with intelligence is called enthusiasm. Otherwise, sometime in the name of enthusiasm, it is just a more of passion. So, but when it is guided by spiritual intelligence in the form of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, it becomes enthusiasm. Prabhupada says, because I became successful because I was always enthusiastic. I never lost hopes in my life. I was always enthusiastic. The devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in service of Krishna. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. Enthusiasm. Utilize everything in service of Krishna. And next thing is what? One should not be impatient in discharging devotion service, because it's a big devotion service, a long, it takes long time, some time to realize Krishna, not long time, sometimes to realize Krishna. So results are not coming. Krishna is not responding. Krishna is sometimes intentionally reticent. Now let us discuss about it. Sometimes we see we are struggling in a situation and we realize maybe the process is not working. I'm chanting my 16 rounds, but the difficulties which I'm facing, they are continuing to be there. The struggles are continuing to be there. Sometimes Krishna becomes intentionally reticent, silent, intentionally. He hides his feeling, his plan for you. If a devotee gets to know three things, he can probably go through any situation joyfully in his life. First, this situation is given by Krishna. Second, this situation will be over by this time. Third, this is the purpose which Krishna wants to teach me. So devotee can joyfully go through any situation in his life, any struggle in his life, if he knows three things. It is given by Krishna. This will be over by this time. And this is the lesson which Krishna wants to teach me. But sometimes Krishna intentionally hides his intentions. We don't know, is it given by Krishna or Maya, who's testing us? And when we are caught up in situation, sometimes it feels like it will stay forever. And we don't understand the point of learning. What is the what is it, isn't it for me? What is the lesson to be learned? And Krishna intentionally, purposefully does this to us. Why? Because Krishna has two responsibilities for us. He wants every jiva to improve, and Krishna wants everyone to grow. To revive their love for it. Basically, Krishna wants us to grow. So unless you go through something, you will never grow through in your life. You have to go through something to grow, isn't it? If nothing happens in your life, you will never grow through in your life. Life is so monotonous. Nothing is happening. Life has to be exciting. There has to be up and down. Up and down is what? Something is not working out according to me. I have certain expectation of my life. Life should be like this. A man proposes, God disposes. The material world is designed such a way, there'll be perplexities in life. There'll be confusion in life. And that is a way out. When you start questioning yourself, what is happening with me? Why am I suffering? There has to be perplexities. There has to be confusions, like where you look for a reason, for an answer. If there's nothing happening, like there'll be nothing to inquire for. There'll be no impetus to come to Krishna for, isn't it? So sometimes Krishna hides his intentions. is it given by me, or will it be over by this time? And what is the lesson to be learned? So Krishna hides these things. So that in that struggle of finding an answer, you grow through. In that struggle of helplessness, sometimes situation continues for very long lasting, maybe a lifetime also. Krishna doesn't tell. Obviously, if one is pure enough, taking Krishna's instruction in the form of Guru Sadhu Shas, he can get those things. But we are not performing bhakti to get rid of life situations. We are doing bhakti for reviving our love of Godhead. Krishna doesn't guarantee everything will be settled in your life. Certain problem will be there in your life forever, or at least for some time. So bhakti is never done for getting rid of the situations. It is done to get love of Krishna. Okay. So this question is not proper. I'm doing bhakti, situation not getting settled. Things are not getting settled. Bhakti is never done for this. It is not intended for settling your situations. If Krishna wants to have certain situation in life forever, it will be there. Just be with it. Grow with your problems. Certain karma we have in a life, we have to go through. Krishna wants you to go through. See, the Krishna's way of purifying us is Krishna utilizes your karma to purify you. Krishna sees your karmic account and utilizes your karma to purify you until you achieve the bhava bhakti, where karma gets nullified. Karmani nidante kintu cha bhakti bhajam. At the level of bhava bhakti, all your karmic reactions are nullified, eradicated by Krishna. And before that, Krishna doesn't do it. Jani doesn't do it. He purifies your karma, he uses your karma, and with your karma, he purifies you. Okay, so maybe how much can we do today? Let us see. Utsaha. One should be very enthusiastic to discharge devotion service. One should not be impatient. And should take instruction, execute them with patience, depending on mercy of Krishna. Okay, how do we lose enthusiasm in devotion service? What are the reasons we lose enthusiasm? Why do we lose, or a devotee loses enthusiasm in devotion service? Yes, Shubham. What are the reasons? What could be the reasons?
Prabhuji, if one commits some Vaishnava Aparadh.
Vaishnava Aparadh. Yes, Baby Mataji.
Expectation from the service.
Expectation from the service.
Like
okay. Spell it out. Yeah. Explain.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, like expecting something in return of the service.
Oh, and you're not getting it. So you lose your enthusiasm. You're expecting something to happen. Okay. Pandit Gadapur.
When we take things for granted, Prabhuji.
Sorry, say it again. Sorry, I couldn't hear.
When we take things for granted.
When we take things for granted. There are different. There are a number of reasons people lose. Different people lose their enthusiasm. Some people have their managerial problems in the temple. Sometimes caught up in politics. Some are doing their sadhana properly, and someone doesn't have a good association, or someone's doing prajalpa. So many things. So, despite knowing everything, one must know. In the association, the enthusiasm comes only in the association devotees. When you're associating with enthusiastic, those who are really motivated for performing devotional service, they will fill you with that power and energy, vibration. Okay, and what is the reason we lose confidence or patience? What else? We lose patience. Sometimes things are not really working. The process is not working. We start to lose our confidence on Krishna. Yes. Pandit Gadapur.
So sometimes we think that it's an instant thing. I do my 16 rounds and I'll become purified the day after. So instant results, when we need instant results, so we tend to lose patience.
Patience. And what about confidence? Ravi Mantani, do you want to say something?
Not having faith in Krishna's plan and getting agitated by some devotees who or somebody who says, "Oh, you could have done something better than this."
The confidence on Krishna and Guru and Krishna is a day-to-day practice. It's not an immediate thing. It is a thing, avashya rakhibo Krishna. So long one is dependent on one's own action. I can do it myself. If one has this tendency, yes, I can do it. I can make things happen. Basically, a doer mentality. I can do it myself. I don't need Krishna. So surely in that situation, one will lose confidence when one is in the mentality of doership. If you do not have confidence on Krishna, make sure in your life, Krishna will make sure that you will have certain situations where you have to depend on Krishna. So it's good to depend on Krishna yourself, like consciously. Not that Krishna has to force you. Prabhupada will write, once you come to devotion service, Krishna will drag you to success. If you come to devotion service, Krishna will drag you to success. Whatever shortcomings that you have, Krishna will drag you. Only thing you require is to be sincere. I'll show you this pause. This Krishna will drag you to success. So successful execution of Krishna conscious activity requires both patience and confidence. Confidence on whom? Krishna. And patience on Krishna's protection. In devotion service, surrender means that one has to become confident. Devotee thinks, avashya rakhibo Krishna. Krishna will surely protect me. There will or there were, there will or there are everywhere. There will be situation, there are situation, there were situation in our life where where we were left alone. Nobody should protect us except Krishna. So only we know in our life, Krishna has protected us so far and he will protect me. Give me help for the successful execution of devotion service. There's so many shortcomings, so many anarthas, so many lines to cross over, which are very difficult. Avashya rakhibo Krishna. Krishna will protect. Because in bhakti, you're never doing bhakti alone. A devotee doesn't do bhakti alone. Krishna is there. Krishna is guiding. It is Krishna who has brought you in bhakti, and Krishna will take you back to Godhead. And it's Krishna who will guide your bhakti. The only thing you have to sincerely pray to Krishna. Pray every day to Krishna. Every day you go before deities and your laminations and at home. Pray to Krishna sincerely. Please deliver me. Please protect me. Devotees always praying for the protection of Krishna. Neglect of this regulative principle will destroy devotion service. Devotee must be enthusiastic about following the rules and regulation. These principles, if he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked. At certain point, if you're not enthusiastic, look for a situation, look for examples, read in the book, hear about enthusiastic devotees, whatever. Somehow this enthusiasm has to be maintained. Okay, now I ask you one question. How do you think your enthusiasm in bhakti is increasing or going down? Were you very enthusiastic in the beginning or now? If you rate your enthusiasm from the beginning on until now, how would you rate yourself? Say earlier you gave 8 out of 10. Now, how much you would give it to yourself in terms of enthusiasm? How much enthusiastic are you becoming in devotion service? How would you rate yourself now from the day you started bhakti? Is it going up or down? Going down. What do you say?
It's going down, Prabhuji.
Going down? Initially, there was
Yeah.
like
Initially, I was very, very enthusiastic, but taking things for granted and also.
What should naturally happen? Bhakti is always dynamic. Bhakti is dynamic. Davni says that average. It's the same. Average means the same. It remains the same as before, right? Yes, Davni Madaji? My question is, your enthusiasm in the beginning, is it going up from the beginning, or is it going down?
Hare
How do
Krishna, Prabhuji.
how do you
Dandavat
rate yourself?
Pranam.
Hmm.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yes, Mataji, speak out.
Prabhuji, sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down.
Okay. But overall, what's your rating? How would you rate yourself in terms of your enthusiasm? What is sign of enthusiastic devotee? How does he think about his chanting, about his spiritual life? And what is his enthusiasm for? This enthusiasm for, and a devotee is enthusiastic about what? Yes, Pandit Gadabhu.
Yeah, I think the devotee should be enthusiastic about completing his rounds ASAP in the morning hours and avoid Vaishnava Prad, to have a devotee association, to visit Dham, to be engaged in services.
A devotee is, and see, if you do not know this question, probably anyone will fall into this trap of being very slack in devotion service. If you do not know for what to be enthusiastic for, so the question comes, the basic question is, why are you doing bhakti? Before we talk about enthusiasm, question has to come, what do you want in devotion service? What is your impetus? What do you want? We talk about enthusiasm, patience, confidence, for what? What do you want in bhakti? What you're looking for? So Shubhabu, what are you looking for? What do you want in bhakti? Why doing bhakti? Just say in one line, not big
To impress
answer.
Krishna.
Please, Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. Why doing bhakti? Mataji, baby Mataji.
Gaining Krishna Prem.
Put in Krishna Prem. Really? Okay. Who else? Jyoti Mataji, you want to say something? Why doing bhakti?
To become a pure devotee.
No, purely bhakti. Okay. Um, all what you have said is okay. It's good. A devotee is enthusiastic to meet Krishna. When and will I meet Krishna? Obviously, it's same thing as attaining love of God, to attain service of Krishna, or to become pure devotee of Krishna. When you become pure devotee, you will see Krishna. I must see Krishna. Prabhupada says. You find on the Vedas, I must see Krishna one day. That is why he's enthusiastic. He's enthusiastic for, I must see Krishna one day. I'm looking for Krishna in my life. One day, one fine day, I'll see Krishna face to face. I will have 100% faith in Krishna, and I'm with Krishna all the time, and Krishna is with me. Krishna doesn't forget me. I do not forget Krishna. I'm looking for that day. I must see Krishna face to face. So we are doing the bhakti. We want to be enthusiastic to see that one day we find Krishna. That is same as loving Krishna, attending service of Krishna. But I must see Krishna in my life face to face. Prabhupada says, if you do devotion service, if you keep chanting your 16 down, you will see Krishna face to face. That is precisely the prema bhakti. A prema bhakta can see Krishna face to face, just like we are talking. And these are not my words. I can probably show you next time, tomorrow. Prabhupada quotes on seeing Krishna face to face. So we have to be patient. If Krishna is not responding now, okay, have to be patient. Depend on Krishna's mercy. Because bhakti is never done alone. Nobody is ever alone in bhakti. Even a jiva himself or herself is never alone. Krishna is always accompanied by his devotee. A devotee should never forget it. You're right. You studying Bhagavatam? Bhagavad Gita introduction. Krishna understands the psychic movements of the living entity, and one should never forget this. Prabhupada writes in the preface of introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna understands the psychic movements, what is going in your mind of the living entity, and one should never forget it. In bhakti, one is never alone. And one fine day you'll find Krishna. You'll meet Krishna, your beloved. A jiva has to meet Supreme Lord. His beloved target, his destination, Supreme Lord. So for this you need enthusiasm. And with proper association and proper execution of rules and regulation, Enthusiasm must increase. If you are progressing in your time in bhakti, enthusiasm must increase. As you're following more rules, more things are known to you, bhakti is always fresh. Enthusiasm must increase. Take whatever help you need if it is not increasing. It's a difficult situation. If you're stuck, take help. Read, hear, whatever. Whatever it takes to increase your bhakti to make you enthusiastic. One has to be enthusiastic. Prabhupada says if one doesn't follow this principle, what will happen? Bhakti will destroy. We can't remain stagnant in devotion service. No way. We have to be enthusiastic. Why is it not coming? Let us know. Get it checked with some senior devotees. Take some help. Read books. Do whatever you like in devotion service. Somewhere you find Krishna's reciprocation. Somewhere you find Krishna's presence. Do that activity more and more. Maybe you find it kirtan. Maybe singing for Krishna. Maybe dancing for Krishna alone. Whatever. Bring back your enthusiasm. It has to come. So, okay, tat karam pravartanat. One must strictly follow the regular principles of Vedic bhakti. One must become enthusiastic. Tandera charan sevi bhakta sanivas. One has to live in the company of pure devotees. So enthusiasm comes when you live in the association of pure devotees and follow the regular principles laid down by the previous acharyas. So we have this ISKCON society so that we invite people to live in the company of devotees, practice regulatory principle of special life. And in this Krishna conscious movement, we require everyone to rise early in the morning. So one should have enthusiasm to get up early in the morning. In one of the lectures, Prabhuji Maharaj says, I surely guarantee you, if you chant your rounds, complete your 16 rounds before Mangal Aarti, you're going. I guarantee you, you're going back to Godhead in this lifetime. It's a famous 3-minute lecture of Tamal Kish Maharaj on Mangal Aarti. Probably it is there on the YouTube. Everyone must. He said, I have seen nobody leaves ISKCON because of philosophical deviation. I know, I can tell you. Maharaj is saying, surely one leaves ISKCON because he's not chanting his round properly, attentively. And I guarantee if you chant the 16 rounds properly before Mangal Aarti, you're going back to bed. This is my guarantee. Who? So Prabhupada is merciful here. Yes, Damni Mataji. Obviously, if you can chant before Mangal Aarti complete, it's well and good. It's a pure golden rounds. Yes,
हरे
Mataji.
कृष्णा प्रभु जी मुझे पूछना था कि ना मंगल आरती करने का करेक्ट टाइम कौन सा है मतलब पहले हम चैंटिंग करें फिर मंगल आरती करें
Okay, depending on situation, you may be in a situation where sometime perhaps you know ways. Okay, you complete your chanting, then you do Mangal Aarti. It's okay at home. Okay at home. If their family members, they get awakened, surrounding neighborhood is there. So for some time practical reason, uh, we might have to do Mangal Aarti later. And then before you do that is your chanting. Yeah, it's okay. Perfectly fine. But depending what time you get up, not that you get up 10 o'clock and you do Mangal Aarti 12 o'clock. So depending what time you get up. You know? So best if you can try getting about 2 o'clock and complete
कैन आई
around
चैंट 6 o'clock oh I mean के मंगल आरती कैन आई डू मंगल आरती 6
okay, 6
o'clock
o'clock is okay. So make sure you chant from 4 to 6 then.
okay
Good. It's a good practice. Completing your round by 6. And Mara says in the lecture, I cannot take guarantee if you complete your round from 5 a.m. in the morning until 11 at night or 12 at night. I can guarantee for you, you're going back to Godhead. But if you're doing 2 to 4 chanting, 2 to 4:30, whatever, before Mangal Aarti, I guarantee you're going back to Godhead. Do you want to meet Krishna? Say yes or no. Are you ready to chant your rounds before Mangal Aarti? Or at least ready to experience some time completing your round before Mangal Aarti? At least some time. Have that taste or experience of being with Krishna.
I often do
Yeah, very nice. But don't tell it. If you're doing, don't tell it.
okay sorry
Okay? You will lose it. In devotion service, if you're doing something good, you tell to others, you will lose it. Keep it with yourself. You know, nazar. What do you call nazar? Nazar lagna. There are rules of the material world. You get nazar of the people. So, yeah, this is important. Something good that you're doing, keep it to yourself. Don't tell it to others. Very often you'll lose it. Don't make it cheap. If something Krishna is telling to you, keep it to yourself. Some realization, some experiences which Krishna has given to you. It is your personal thing which Krishna has gifted you. Why Krishna is not giving to others? Because it doesn't deserve. Because Krishna, things that you deserve, is giving to you. Some realization, some experiences, some incidents, whatever. Keep it to yourself. When you tell it to others, you make it cheap. And Krishna won't give it to you again. Right? That should not happen. So don't make it cheap and so easy. Your realization, keep it to your heart. These are your treasures that Krishna has given to you. Okay, let us move forward. 4 minutes left. Let me see how much can I do. I usually don't take overtime class. If you have any question, you can ask. So we have to fill every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. Baba said, get up 4 o'clock, attend Mangal Aarti, do your morning worship, read Bhagavatam, perform Kirtan, so forth. We hold continuous activities in devotional service, 24 hours a day. This is called Sato Vrite. Sato Vrite. This is the line. Devotion service is so pure and perfect. Once one has begun it, one is forcibly dragged to ultimate success. So Krishna will make sure that you achieve the ultimate success. So whatever situation comes, take it as a blessings of Krishna. Because you have started with devotion service and it is so pure and perfect. Krishna is there with you. He'll make you perfect. He will drag you to success. Sometimes we are wondering what is happening in devotion service. So in this way, one can advance in devotion service without hindrance. Oh, we finished in time. Hopefully we finish on time. So I'd aim for completing second verse and third verse together today. So hopefully we'll do fourth and fifth tomorrow, if we can do it. And next of the verses will be taken by one senior devotee, Anand Kaursundar. He's a devotee for more than 20 years, and he was appointed by NASA, Paris, scientist. So probably day after tomorrow we will continue. Any question, and we'll wind it up for today's discussion. If so far is there from slide, let me see. Something is there. I hope we have covered everything. Top education now. Enthusiasm, perform activities for Krishna pleasure, endeavor with intelligence, confidence, Krishna will protect me. Be calmly convinced, devotion service is the only way. Bhakti is independent, free. And Bhakti is not dependent on karma. So you read the purpose, so they are part of discussion. Patience, no expectation of result. Success depends on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So one should avoid the regular principle. Chant 16 minimum rounds on beat, japa beat. And this must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm. Chant your rounds with enthusiasm. Today is a day when you can meet Krishna in the form of Radha and Krishna, in the form of holy name. Prabhupada says when you're chanting Radha Krishna, they are dancing on your tongue. When you chant, even on the tongue of a neophyte devotee. So you are associating with Radha Krishna. So one should be enthusiastic for following regulative principle and chanting his 16 rounds. Avoiding the association of devotees, one should live in the association of devotees. And the same we read just now. One should get up 4 o'clock. Satovrita means one should be very straightforward. No diplomacy, no politics, no duplicity. That will not help. No underhand dealings. His profession should be very straightforward. Okay. Anything else? So we completed everything. So one or two questions, Jyoti Madhuri, short question, and let us see.
While chanting, since Radha Krishna, they're on our tongue, so I mean, some negative thoughts may come while chanting. So
okay, it will come. It will come. And when you keep chanting, it will go away. Important thing is it takes time to realize it, obviously. Radha Krishna, they are dancing on your tongue. But what we can do is, what is in our control is when you chant with full attention. At least don't do anything else. Mind may go here and there, whatever, let it be. Try to focus on your rounds. And if you're so much disturbed, keep Hare Krishna Mahamantra in written form. You can focus on Mahamantra and then chant. This is for a short while, then again you focus on the sound vibration. And preferably, if it is too distracting, chant with some devotees. Preferably, take a time in a week, wherever possible, chant in the association devotees and have Tulsi in the middle. Prabhupada says when you chant in front of Tulsi, it has a lot of potency. It makes you so much spiritually potent. Chanting before Tulsi plant. Keep Tulsi before you. Krishna Priya Mataji, please. Just a,
Prabhuji. I have question with respect to Niyamagra. Like just like we are doing classes from 7 to 9, and at the same time, there is a Bhagavatam class or some Bhagavatam of a senior Vaishnava. So, is it a Niyamagra if we do our class, or we are not going to the temple to attend the Bhagavatam, the real Bhagavatam, which is uttered by the senior Vaishnava?
Obviously, if I won't say it's a Niyamagra, if you're doing under the guidance of a devotee. If devotee is told to join a course and you're attending some senior preachers, it's okay. In both ways, you're hearing about Krishna Katha. You know, we both are speaking about Krishna. And for some, for the sake of like doing a proper education, you do a course, and regular Bhagavatam is going on. So devotee should be intelligent, and this is just a 3 days also, especially your course. Rest of the days you can attend classes. So yeah, sometimes here there are some adjustments are there. So you leave something to get something. In both ways, you are attaining Krishna. Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow again. Thank you so much for your patient listening and hearing. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Gaur Premanande.
Very, very good. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Pranam to all devotees. Pranam devotees.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare